Right after the murders of YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie, Dontavius Tay Withers was secretly recorded by Sack Chaser's family. In the audio, Withers admits he lied to the police. He says Melly was in the car the entire time, talks about a gun being found after the shootings, and even denies the Snapchat car switch story, calling it fake. He went further, dragging Melly's mom, Jimmy King, accusing her of hiding evidence, moving Melly's stuff into storage, and causing chaos in the crew. This recording, made by Sack Chaser's family, completely blows up later testimony. Withers was one of the occupants of the other vehicle that left the studio with everyone that night. The audio file was randomly sent to the lawyers of the families 5 days after he had a deposition with them. This deposition is 200 pages long. If you want me to read that in another video, I will. It's a lot, but I'm going to read what they say in this audio. Hit subscribe. Let's go. All right, here we go. Plaintiff's motion to compel or reopen deposition of Dontavius Withers. So the lawyers for the families want to get another deposition of Withers after they found out something, and you're going to see what it is here. Counsel for the plaintiffs have been delayed and prevented from taking the requested depositions for a multitude of reasons and tactics presented by both defense counsel and party defendants. This was filed October 23rd, 2020. Part of the chief issue in the case is that one lawyer, Mark DeCowden, represents two individuals who are charged with the major crimes associated with the wrongful death of plaintiff.
Hello, I'm Mark DeCowden. Accidents happen even on vacation.
This case was tried before a jury of 12 and resulted in a mistrial after many witnesses refused to testify over broadly asserted Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, and the state of Florida failed to secure the testimony of several witnesses. They talk about Melly having more charges from the witness tampering in jail. Despite having two separate criminal defense teams and what seems to be extensive material adverse interests representing two charged co-conspirators to murder, DeCowden controls any and all discovery responses and settlement offers, and all efforts at resolution have been a non-starter because of the inability to have separate conversations amongst the named defendants. Making matters worse, Frederick Givens, Dontavius Withers, Adrian Davis are also Mr. DeCowden's clients. They were not at the scene at the wrongful death, but had various roles before or after the shootings. It is indisputable that Frederick Givens, Dontavius Withers, and Adrian Davis are witnesses which have been listed in the criminal case. So they're pointing out that Mr. DeCowden has some conflict of interest representing multiple people involved. Here's where things get interesting. Evidence relating to Dontavius Withers includes a statement given to police, as well as an audio recording in which Withers confessed to certain details regarding the circumstances of the murders to family members of decedent and co-plaintiff Anthony Williams. So what that was right there is they're saying Dontavius Withers has confessed details to Sack Chaser's family. The statement was possessed by Jamel Demons and requested by plaintiff as part of the criminal file. DeCowden has failed and refused to produce not only the statement, but any discovery items requested by both plaintiffs throughout the entirety of these cases. So what it sounds like is Melly's team got a hold of this at some point, and they won't give it to the plaintiffs, the families. Withers' deposition was taken on November 20th. 5 days later, look what happens. On November 25th, 2024, plaintiff received an audio recording from the state of Florida in a folder entitled Audio with Withers and Bagley of a conversation allegedly involving Dontavius Tay Withers, dated October 27, 2018. In the audio recording, which is not transcribed, Mr. Withers said, or the recording discusses, at 1:23 in the recording, the story the police already had, I just went with it. He didn't actually say police, he said they, but they're kind of putting in quotations, he's talking about the police. At 4:46 in the recording, I'm just going with what was already told to me. They was telling me it was only 3 people in that car. If you tell me there was only 3 people that arrived at the hospital, I'm trying to figure out where Melly at too. At 7:16, a party to the recording says Jamie King been cooking this up for the longest. What does that mean? A party to the recording? Like someone else in the recording said that? At 7:32, Tay says, Melly mama is really fake. She'll come around, but when she's not around, she'll be dogging everybody. Tay says he already gave him a story, so it's like if I was to say something different off rip, it'd be like, huh? At 8:15, there's allegation Jamie King called out from work and indicated, quote unquote, my son called me from the bushes, and he and they shooting at him, which would place him at the scene. This is a fundamental issue to the case. There's an allegation that Melly was calling his mama from the bushes. At 2024, Tay says he knows that others are trying to use him, potentially to kill somebody. Tay says Jamie always talks junk. Tay admits he knew Jamel was in the car with Sack, Juvie, and Portland at all material times. Tay admits police only knew 3 people were ultimately in the car, and Tay did not know where Melly went after the studio. Tay admits that the search party which went looking for guns found one of the guns. They tossed in the whole opposite direction of where the car was supposed to be if it was headed to Melly's house. And this was all recorded the day after the murders. Tay claims that Portland and or Melly said the alleged drive-by happened from behind. Alright boys, fall is here and it's time to lock in and make healthier decisions with Factor. Their chef prep, dietitian approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious no matter how hectic your schedule is. You can choose from a wide selection of weekly menu options, including premium seafood options like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. Factor supports your wellness goals. They have any diet you can think of, whether it's protein plus, keto, Calorie smart or carb conscious people, they have the meal plan for you. From more choices to better nutrition, that's why 97% of customers say Factor helped them live a healthier life. And you can feel the difference no matter what your routine is. My go-to is the Protein Plus option because I always want to hit my protein goal. If your weight is going up in the weight room, but it's going down on the scale, that means it's working. And trust me, you'll eat this food and you'll feel better overall. Eat smart at factormeals.com/cuff50off and use code cuff50off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code cuff50off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Go get yourself some healthy meals. Back to the video. And then came up on the side and kept on shooting, which they note does not match the facts of the case. The shooting happened from behind. There's no bullets from behind. The bullet holes in the car are not in the back of the car. Here's another big red flag about the alleged Snapchat Melly sent to Tay to pull over on the interstate to switch cars, which allegedly led to demon switching vehicles. At 26:39, Tay clearly confesses, "Listen, let me tell you, it ain't happen." And at 26:50, Tay adds, "It didn't happen, now you get it?" Again at 27:21, Tay reiterates, "That part never happened." This is someone that was in the other car saying, "I never got a text message from anyone to switch cars. We never switched cars. No one ever got into my car." At 28:04, Tay admits he chose this story because but they can't pull it up. Although because, Snapchat disappear. There's people out there that really think Snapchat disappears. Like completely. It's crazy to me. He claims at 28:50, he just added that part. At 30:10, Tay says it's like, I really can't change it though. And at 34:14, by changing the story to now to tell the truth, that's what's gonna make it bad. Each time I read it gets worse and worse. At 37:33, Tay discusses that YNW Melly's label wanted him to move to California after the shootings, and people were figuring out who was going and who was staying in Florida. Why do you think a record label would want people involved in this to move to California? Take a wild guess. Clearly, to avoid talking to the police, becoming a witness, they're trying to separate them from Florida. That's what I gather from this, right? Any person with common sense would also say that, right? Tay identified another possible witness, Mo or Monique. This one I don't really understand. He says, Tay discloses that multiple people were aware Juvie and Sack were shot before the occupants of their red vehicle, and we were trying to find out how. I don't really understand what that one means. Tay states Melly called me at like 5:30 in the morning. And then later on, he says Melly called him at 4 something. So he's switching up his shit too. Tay claims Melly called me once and then he blew up Drew. And again, Tay said he called me one time when I woke up, and Cini called me one time, but he blew up Drew and he blew up Kobe. At this time, Melly is still in the car. He's still there. He ain't get out in the car until they started dropping guns off everywhere. He claims he got that information from Bortland. This is so messy. Tay was asked how Melly got home. Tay said Fredo Bang. That's another rapper. He lives up the street. Yeah, another rapper. He told he was calling everybody and he was the one to answer. Tay reconfirmed Melly was in the car where the murders happened the whole entire time. Tay begins to say Melly and Cortland told him about the car being shot up, but it is cut off. Tay claims that Jamie King propositioned him for sex or hit on him. Hold on, what? What's going on here? Melly's mom? Tay claims Sack was furious that Jamie King propositioned him and others in the group for sex or hit on them and went in on her. Why would Sack Chaser be mad about that? What is going on? Why would Sack be mad? I thought Melly would be mad if anything. What? Tay claims Jamie King was having relationships with other people in the group, including Cortez, who is believed to be Melly's former manager. Jay Green is also mentioned. Oh, so that's how Cortez is involved. The cash motivated guy. I didn't know he was a manager at all. I thought he was just a rapper friend. Tay claims others told him Melly's mom a freak and bragged about how she'd have relations with them. This would make Sack and others mad, as it compromised friendships and brought drama and sex to their business. What is this messy ass shit, bro? What am I reading? Tay claims Jamie will proposition him and flirt with him when he's alone. Tay discusses an incident where they got into it the other day, which she came to the house and came in and said all the extra stuff. Sack told Melly's mother, Jamie King, that he could fuck her in front of the group if he wanted, and insinuated it is because she loves him and she was promiscuous. And Melly was there and supposedly said he couldn't defend his mother. Hey bro, what am I reading right now? There's red flags popping up left and right here. Because I'm asking myself, why would this Tay guy make all this up? You know what I mean? Like, I kind of believe it because this is so much crazy shit. It's like, why would he even make this up? He was like their friend. Tay claims Jamie King was fake crying at the memorials. After the incidents, Jamie King cleaned out the entire house and put nearly all of Melly's possessions in storage. These possessions were later found in Francois' storage unit. Remember the storage unit I read in my last video? That they rented a storage unit the day of the murders. So it's for Melly to move possessions into storage. Interesting. Jana Thompson points out that her son was lost in a sacrifice. Tay says, I know it was, and Tay claims Jamie King was manipulating the situation because she was losing her son to his friends and his music career without her in it. What the hell is going on, bro? When discussing motive for Jamie King or Jamal Dimond's murder, Tay says Juvie and Sack is YNW. And then they discuss Sack's role as founder and business owner and co-creator of YNW. Sack's mother says her son told her YNW Melly's deal with 300 was the devil's deal, and it was not supposed to be signed, but Jamie went behind their back and got it done. Tay says, show was, and I know it was. Tay claims some were trying to revoke the deal at 300 at the time prior to the shooting. That's a big accusation. So they're saying Melly went behind his boy's back to sign something, the 300 entertainment deal. If it was just an individual deal, like for Melly alone, I don't know how that's a bad thing. I mean, unless he's signing like a 4-album deal for like 300K, which I've heard a lot. Like these motherfuckers signing 4 albums for like 200 grand or something like ridiculously bad. Mr. Withers testified lack of remembering that Mr. Dimond ever got into their car, thus exiting the vehicle where Mr. Thomas lost his life, as well as other memory issues. Many of the memory issues could be tied to witness tampering, as has been alleged by the state. Other memory issues could be tied to witness intimidation. Jamie King tweeted this when witnesses were testifying in the criminal trial. Pest control, who called about that? Regardless, plaintiff seeks to refresh Mr. Withers' recollection, seeks to authenticate this record. At times, Mr. Withers was coached and or instructed not to answer by Mr. DeCowden. Such an instruction may not have been in Mr. Withers' best interest, as he seems to recognize it is wrong to lie, but also reveals fear of retaliation in his statement. So they want to re-ask him these questions about the audio that he recorded years prior, the day after the murder. Here's how it's a conflict of interest with Mr. DeCowden. In the subject recording, Withers directly accuses other DeCowden clients, Dimond and Miss King, of the involvement in this matter, including Dimond being at the murder scene at all material times. Mr. Withers directly admits to lying to police officers. Mr. Withers also presents a statement to the adverse detriment of Givens, directly involving him with this matter. Now they bring up Florida bar rule, conflict of interest among current clients. The representation of one client will be directly adverse to another client, and or substantial risk that the representation of one or more clients will be material limited by a lawyer's responsibilities to another client. Florida rules of professional conduct mandate that the appropriate remedy in this situation is withdrawal from the further representation. Simply put, mutual loyalty to witnesses and principals in a murder trial and wrongful death civil suit is problematic, but even a grosser quagmire when witness tampering is alleged. One witness, Frederick Givens, even testified he did not know Mr. DeCowden simultaneously represented Dimond and King, only to change that months later. DeCowden refuses to allow reopening of that deposition as well. It is the subject of a separate motion. Plaintiff asks to reopen the deposition. There's no prejudice. To the contrary, plaintiff is prejudiced if not allowed to examine Mr. Withers on this evidence which was available to defendants but not available to plaintiffs. It is clear that Mr. DeCowden's efforts to obstruct discovery and delay this case have been detrimental to plaintiffs. As a result of the clear interference in discovery, plaintiffs should be permitted to reopen the deposition of Don Tavius Withers. That recording is fucking crazy. What I would do to get my hands on this recording. Oh man. Comment down below what you guys think and subscribe. Thanks for the support. Peace out, boys.